Welcome to Applied Legal Research Micro Certificate for Statutory Law. My name is Kristen Baginski, and I will be your instructor throughout this module. I'm currently the Lexis Practice Area Specialist on the National Practice Area team, covering the practice areas of intellectual property and data security and privacy. Previously, I was a Lexis Law School rep covering Duquesne Klein, the University of Pittsburgh, and the University of West Virginia Schools of Law. Additionally, my legal background includes being an adjunct professor where I taught LR&W. I spent time as a faculty librarian where I taught introductory and advanced legal research, and also as a law firm librarian. If you have any questions about this module or statutory research, you can reach me at the email listed on the screen. Our learning objectives for this legal research micro certificate in statutory law are as follows. We want to identify relevant statutory law authority. The skills we'll use for this are search term engineering and effective filter application. We also want to use a relevant statute to find additional authority. The skills we'll use for this are leveraging statutory authority to find additional authority and do a quality review of the different types of authority. Why statutes? Statutes are a significant source of primary law and a necessary resource in real-world legal research at both the state and federal level. Statutes are written and enacted by legislature governing a state or country. When faced with a legal issue, you will always want to know if there is a controlling statute in the jurisdiction where you will file suit. A controlling statute is a law that applies to your jurisdiction that will be relied upon when settling a dispute. Finding a controlling statute makes your legal research and analysis easier. To illustrate this critical component of legal research, we will use the following hypo. Taystar Toy Co. is a family-run conglomerate of the toy family with business in various industries, including, ironically enough, toy manufacturing. The toy manufacturing part of Taystar Toy Co. is headquartered in North Carolina because it's easy to buy manufacturing space there. Recently, one of the toy children, Benny Toy, and his cousin Craig left the family business to start their own toy company, Toco, also headquartered in North Carolina. The first Toco toy to hit the market, a talking doll that uses AI to converse, seemingly uses proprietary information from Taystar Toy Co. Taystar Toy Co. wants to sue Toco for stealing trade secrets. Taystar Toy Co. hires your firm as local counsel. You've been asked by your supervisor to write a memo to determine whether Taystar Toy Co. can file a preliminary injunction to stop Toco's manufacture and sale of their doll based on Toco's misappropriation of Taystar Toy Co.'s trade secrets. To answer this question, you want to find and interpret the relevant statutes in your jurisdiction. If you regularly practice in a specific area, you may know the relevant code section to start your research, but this is unlikely to be the case when starting your legal career. Thus, the first step in starting statutory research is not any different than starting any other kind of legal research. Take a few minutes to get organized. Carefully consider the legal issue or hypo at hand and determine the best search terms to begin your research. Issue spotting is a skill you'll need well beyond law school exams. For the issue faced by Taystar Toy Co., the legal issues, and therefore the search terms, will be trade secret and misappropriation. You may not always know the proper or best search terms for a legal issue, however. One good way to find search terms is by utilizing tools available to you to determine search terms. You can use other legal resources at hand to determine search terms. If you look for what is the legal term of art for stealing a trade secret, you're going to come up with a lot of different potential results. But here, you want to look at Lexis Answers, and that can help you determine some of your search terms. You can look at the excerpts or full text of cases where you might see the term misappropriation. You can check other statutes where you might come across the term appropriate or misappropriation. And also don't hesitate to look at secondary materials, again, coming across that word appropriate. If that doesn't help you, go ahead and jump into one of the resources in Lexis Answers. If you open a case, for example, and you scroll to core terms, you'll come across the term misappropriation. Thus, you've determined some best search terms, and now you're ready to find the controlling statute in your jurisdiction. Using terms and connector searches with your search terms will always help you achieve more relevant search results and make you a more efficient attorney. In this particular case, the terms and connector search that we will use will be trade secret \s of the word misappropriate with an exclamation point. This tells Lexis to find the terms trade secret in the same sentence, which is the \s, as the term misappropriate. We use an exclamation point as a root expander to search all versions of the word, like misappropriated and misappropriating. When we get to our search term results, we're going to go to the statute category. And then we will need to filter by jurisdiction. In order to locate a controlling statute, we need to find the code in the applicable jurisdiction. In our case, we need to know the controlling statute or code section for North Carolina. As you scroll through your results, you will soon see a code section labeled Action for Misappropriation. This seems directly on point for our K-Star Toy Code Trade Secrets issue. We're going to go ahead and click on the link to open the statute section that seems on point. As we read through this statute section, it seems that there does exist in North Carolina a cause of action for misappropriation of a trade secret. Once the controlling statute is found, it needs to be interpreted. There are a variety of tools available within the statutory section that will help with this interpretation. In this particular instance, the code section tells us that the cause of action exists, but we get very little additional information. The easiest way to find additional code sections that will flesh out the topic is to click on the table of contents. Here, it's easy to see other related and on-point sections of the code that will be applicable to this legal issue. We need to determine if they can file a preliminary injunction, which is a remedy, so it makes sense to click on the link for remedies. Reading the remedies section of the code, it seems that an injunction will be possible. Now, we need to use the tools available to determine how your controlling code section has been interpreted by courts in order to apply the code to our facts. You've already seen how useful the table of contents tool is. Next, you'll want to use the search terms link to get to the navigation pane, where you can easily jump around to the tools embedded in the statute section. First, you see the search term map. This color codes the search terms that you used and shows you where in the code section the terms show up. The search term maps visualize the data to help quickly jump to relevant parts of the code that speak specifically to your issue. Here, we can jump to a section discussing our specific issue where a former employee is involved in the alleged misappropriation. The navigation pane also allows you to navigate to other relevant statute information. You can click on History, which lists the date the statute was enacted. You can get to Annotations, which will feature case notes. They may also be called notes to decisions, which is what they're referred to in federal statutes. This is where you'll start to find cases that have interpreted the statute in your jurisdiction, and you can begin to determine how this code section and corresponding cases will apply to your facts. Finally, the navigation pane will lead you to research references and practice aids. Here you might find resources such as on-point secondary sources. Here we see a law review article, but could also be jurisprudence, treatises, may even have references to relevant administrative regulations or cross-references to other relevant statute sections. What we found via the navigation pane and embedded in all statute sections in an online research platform will have helped you begin to interpret the code section and help you start applying it to your issue. But there are additional value-added tools that can assist even further in the statutory research and interpretation. One very important value-added tool is Shepard's. Shepard's is a tool that will both validate your statute, letting you know if it's still good law, and expand your research by helping you find additional resources to interpret your statute section. If you Shepardize this code section, you'll learn several new things. From the citing decisions category, using the analysis filter, you can determine that your statute is still good law. You can even break down the analysis by subsections. The analysis of the statute also expands your research, giving you links to those cases that interpret the statute. You can then further expand research by Shepardizing those cases to find more cases, and so on. Shepard's really is an amazing tool, and this is one great example of using authority to find additional authority. So now we've used a statute to find multiple cases on point. Beyond the helpful cases, the Shepard's report will also give you additional resources to explore. In the other citing sources category, you might find other relevant statutes. You'll find expert authority by way of secondary sources. Those could be law reviews, treatises, or jurisprudence. You can also find briefs, pleadings, motions that reference the statute, which will be useful when it comes time to draft documents for court. There are other value-added tools to use as well. If you look to related content, you can search other references for this code, and there you'll find other code sections that reference the code section that you're searching. Additionally, you're able to use the code compare tool. This will help you see what, if any, changes the statute has undergone since it was enacted. In this particular situation, we can see a very small change. Period was added. But you can easily see how fast you can determine what was changed by using this handy tool. Noting what changed can help determine a legislative intent, which can thus help in interpreting the statute. Statutory research can feel intimidating, but with the skills discussed and the tools learned about in this video, you'll be ready to tackle any statutory issues that have been assigned. Based on what was uncovered in the statutory search, it looks like you can advise Taystar Toyco that a preliminary injunction is a possible remedy for misappropriation of a trade secret. To arrive at this conclusion, you got organized at the beginning of your research to determine the best possible search terms. You ran a terms and connector search of trade secrets within the same sentence as misappropriate and filtered to the statute's category and then filtered by jurisdiction. You reviewed the results list. You found North Carolina Trade Secrets Misappropriation Code, and to better interpret the statute, you used the embedded online platform tools, table of contents, the navigation pane, the search term maps, the case notes, and the research references. The Shepard citator was also used to make sure your statute is still good law and to expand your research. Finally, related code content and code compare were checked for any other relevant information. To recap, today we learned how to identify relevant statutory law authority. The skills that were used were search term engineering and effective filter application. We also learned to use a relevant statute to find additional authority. The skills here were leveraging authority to find additional authority and authority quality review. Upon successful completion of the statutory law quiz, you will receive your micro certificate. You're eligible to earn an applied micro certificate in secondary sources, case law, statutory law, and administrative materials. Earn all four and showcase your diverse legal research skills. Thank you for your participation in this micro certification program. Best of luck in all future legal endeavors.